Welcome to the folks at Rebuild the Party. This is Saul Anuzis speaking to you from Missouri. Just checked into a day's in here after a long day of campaigning with RNC members and wanted to try to address some of the YouTube questions you have. The first one was asked by IM. He says, a growing number of concerned citizens are distraught that they see more freedoms being taken away every day. Will you turn the focus of restoring the Constitution and retaining liberty as the message of the Republican Party? Well, clearly this is a very important part of the constitutional basis of our country, and one of the things that I think we have to stand up for. One of the challenges we will have in this regard are some of the judges that President Obama will try to appoint. So I think we are going to have to challenge them on a regular basis and make sure that we address them. Sometimes we get caught up in how we do it and justify the how vis-a-vis the means, and that sometimes infringes on these rights, which isn't the right way to move forward, because the founding principles of our Constitution probably can't be a more important thing that we should all protect. The next question came from Michael. Michael asks, it is known that some Republican lawmakers at the state and federal level have ignored conservative principles at one time or another in favor of supporting liberal policy proposals, sometimes due to pressure from groups such as trial lawyers and feminists, who have threatened retaliation come time for re-election. As the RNC chair, what, if anything, will you do to help address or alleviate this problem so that Republican lawmakers will stay true to their word and stand behind the conservative principles that they once promoted to get elected? Well, this does happen, and I think it's a very important issue, and I think that those members who vote for the wrong policies and don't represent the party should pay a price, and that should be done in the primary, and that's what primary system's all about. We also faced a similar problem here in Michigan when members tried to pass the largest tax increase in Michigan's history. The party stood up against it. We opposed it publicly. We said we wouldn't back candidates who supported it. We raised money and ran ads talking about the fact that we did not expect a single Republican to vote for it, and built the pressure to stand on principle and help define the party. That worked out very well, and it's something I would encourage us to do in the future again. Another question was asked by Carl, who said, by far the most widely recognized and probably the most significant advantage enjoyed by sitting members of Congress is the large amount of campaign contributions that they are able to raise, especially in comparison to those who run against them. As chairman, and at your direction, would the RNC support incumbents regardless of their actual voting record as a default position, or will the National Party consider financially supporting alternative candidates who challenge sitting members? Look, I don't think it's the Republican Party's role as a party to get involved in primaries, period. I think that our job is to elect Republicans. So I would argue for all of those who want to challenge incumbents or who are unhappy with who is being proposed, your fight is in the primary. We as a party nominate our candidates. Hopefully conservatives will win. If conservatives get involved, they can win. But if not, my job and the job of the Republican Party would be to support Republican candidates in the general election. I don't believe we should be getting involved in primaries on either side of the issue. Another question came from a Taft Republican addressed. Some people have insisted that the only function of the chairman of the RNC is to raise money and get Republicans elected. Others say that the RNC chair should also work to ensure that liberal Republicans are not supported by the party, that liberal policies are publicly opposed by the RNC no matter what party a candidate or elected official belongs to, and that the true conservative ideals and policy recommendations should be advanced by the RNC itself. Do you believe your function, if elected, would only be as CEO, or would you advocate a conservative versus liberal agenda against liberalism? Look, the party has a lot of roles, and as chairman I would have many roles. But I believe, yes, I'm going to be the chief fundraiser. I will be the CEO of the operation, also one of the leading strategists, and not to mention probably blogger-in-chief as well. But winning elections for the sake of winning doesn't do us a lot of good. We have seen what happens when we elect people who are Republicans in name only, don't even try to hide their affiliation. There are some states I've been traveling around where people have actually run as Republicans and always vote as Democrats and have no beliefs whatsoever. I think that we have to be willing to stand up on conservative principles, not be afraid to challenge candidates and elected officials who are no longer voting with the party. But again, as I said earlier, I think that primaries are up to individual candidates and interest groups that care, and individual conservative activists. And as a party, we shouldn't get involved in primaries, but we should not be afraid to challenge members who will vote against the principles that we all share. Another question came up by Ben. Several videos have surfaced on the net showing a disparity between the popularity of candidates by grassroots supporters and the translation of that in the media time on major networks. Several popular Republican candidates suffered to break through because of unequal time given to Democrats and less popular candidates. What will you do as the RNC chairman to ensure that all candidates receive equal time on networks and address the issue of media bias? Well, look, the reality is we can't do anything about either media bias or making sure that they all get equal time. We can realize that there is going to be a media bias. We can challenge the media and make sure that we get as fair of treatment as possible. I would be very aggressive in that regard. The media, the network should not become an arm of the DNC or the Obama White House. And I think you have to have an aggressive chairman who is willing to challenge that issue by issue and make sure that our voice is heard. And where necessary, that we go around the networks and go directly to the people. A great example is what Speaker Gingrich did with, drill here, drill now, where he took this issue directly to the American people and had a great success. Douglas asks, what strategy would you do to take back the Northeast and blue states? Will you be a big supporter of the big tent philosophy and support candidates who can win? Well, I think conservative candidates can win. I don't think we have to moderate our issue. I don't think it's a question of moving to the right or to the left. It's a question about credibility. We lost our way and we lost our credibility by being hypocritical. We promised lower taxes, smaller spending, smaller government, and instead we voted for the bridge to nowhere. We voted for higher taxes. We got caught up in the Abramoff, Foley, Cunningham scandals. The American people looked to throw the bums out, and we have become the bums. So we have to rebuild our credibility. We have to continue to talk about common sense, conservative solutions to everyday problems, and we can get elected anywhere in this country, standing on principle. Another question, Carolyn asks, the Republican Party is a party of Lincoln. The fact that we lost over the last 50 years is due to missteps and decisions made by previous party leaders that alienated minority groups. How will you address the belief that in the country, that the Republican Party is exclusionary and that we can regain Lincoln's mantle? Well, I think, A, we have to recruit great candidates. We have to make sure they run for office. We have to reach out in the minority community. I can tell you in Michigan, as an example, we elected African Americans, Republicans who ran as good conservative Republicans in all white districts and won. I think we have to go out and find good candidates who stand on our principles, stand on our beliefs, and can win anywhere. And some of them will happen to be black, some will happen to be brown, some will have to be Asian. But we have to go out and recruit the best candidates and not ignore the fact that there are some great candidates in the minority community that can win in any districts around the country. And we've proved it here in Michigan. Will you come out strong on the issues to build our email list, like MoveOn.org and Drill Now? Absolutely. This is part of my platform. I think we have to come up with a 20 million strong member group that networks around the country. We should learn from what the Democrats did and do more to be able to move ahead and beat them at their own game. This is something we can do, but we have to make an investment in both time and effort. Patrick asks, will you institute a Republican Secretary of State's project to make sure that we have an honest vote count? Look, absolutely. I think that we have to make sure that we almost have to have a 72-hour post-election program. We have to start looking out for the Democrats who are willing to lie, cheat, and steal in order to win certain elections. Take a look at what's happening in Minnesota today. There have been some great lessons learned, some tremendous challenges, and we have to make sure that our Secretary of States and local clerks are ready for the challenges ahead. What will you do to attract young voters? Aaron asks. Look, this is a closing question and is actually a very sobering fact. We cannot win elections if the only people we count on are white voters and people over the age of 40. We're not going to be able to fix this by any single issue, but we're going to have to address this by, again, approaching it, I think, on conservative, common sense issues that address the issues of the day, that show young people and people of color that we care about all of America, that we believe in an opportunity society, that we believe in Reagan's concept of American exceptionalism. This is the greatest country in the world that, if allowed to prosper and work and be free, can accomplish just about anything. So I think there's tremendous opportunity. I'm very excited about the future of the Republican Party, and we can bring young people and minorities into the party working together. So thanks to Rebuild the Party for putting these questions together, and look forward to doing this again, hopefully, as the next chairman of the Republican National Committee. Thank you.